Today we're going to be talking about what it's been like so far in 2025 running my own solo design business. And if you're new here, I'm Eric, a freelance key art and brand designer based in New York City. And I create videos to show you what it's like working as a freelance designer in the entertainment industry. At the end of 2024, I had just come off of doing a 30-day outreach challenge where I reached out to as many companies as I could in 30 days. Now, for me, this was a way to try to build up some momentum for the business by working in the business. And right after I did that, I was pretty exhausted, but I felt lucky because I was starting to get some projects that I was really excited about. And while I don't think that these companies that found me and reached out to me were a result of the direct outreach I was doing, it still felt like, the energy I was putting out there, the portfolio update that I had done, and the conversations I was having still helped to put me on that frequency that would allow me to start to attract more opportunities. At the end of 2024, I decided to take a trip to Costa Rica so that I could reconnect and get grounded. So one morning while we were in Costa Rica, I ventured off by myself and started climbing over these rocks to get as close as I could, start getting some different perspectives and vantage points with my camera. And I started to think about how important perspective really is. Not only, in a literal sense of like, okay, where I'm standing here is going to get me a better picture, but it helps me to think about a greater perspective in terms of my career, my trajectory, and where I'd like to go as a solo, freelancer business owner. And I was standing there looking out at the sunset as it started to appear in the horizon. And I was capturing these beautiful action shots of just waves crashing against the rocks and thinking about how beautiful and precious this moment really was. Not only did it allow me to capture some beautiful photos, but it helped me to understand that, this time away to unplug and recharge is super important because it gave me that perspective that I needed to figure out where I wanted to go next. Coming out of 2024 and going into 2025 allowed me to see that there was a pretty big energy shift happening. At the end of 2024, it felt like work was really drying up. Things were scarce and slow. And I really had a lot of uncertainty about, what was next. But heading into 2025, I started to see more posts on LinkedIn, on Behance, and hearing from some of the recruiters I had reached out to that companies were starting to look for more key art designers. They're looking for branding designers. One of the biggest changes that I'm noticing is that some of these opportunities aren't specifically for, poster designs, right? Some of these opportunities might be for header designs for a website, might be for podcasts or audiobooks, or they could be for, digital ads and creative. A lot of areas where my skill set is still very valuable, but it's not necessarily one-to-one. It's not like, okay, I can do key art, so I can only apply that to posters. Now I'm starting to be able to see all of the ways that I can apply these skills, and that's really opened up the door to a lot of new potential pathways. So here's how some of that has played out for me. I think it's important for myself to be able to see how things have changed because it's allowed me to really just open up my mind to other possibilities, like working with a client who is on a streaming platform and seeing that I can help them create these branded showcases and packages that feature different products or services. And these are things where my experience designing key art and doing retouching and photo compositing are extremely valuable. A lot of times companies like this will just get handed folders of assets and images and logos and copy, and we have to turn it into a campaign that consists of anywhere from 5 to 10 or 15 different images that all feel cohesive and consistent. I'm designing covers for audiobooks and podcasts and seasonal key art that would live on a streaming platform. And another way that I've been able to transfer these skills and find new opportunities this year for my business is through working with a ticketing company. Now, this company sells tickets to concerts, to sporting events, musicals, pretty much anything that you would go to and experience live. I've been able to apply my key art skills by helping them develop these eye-catching digital banners and headers for their website to help them generate more interest in sales for their events. So while I'm still very excited and passionate about creating key art and doing posters, I've realized that I can't rely solely on that because those gigs don't come very often. I wish they would come up a little bit more, but some things are still shifting a little bit in the industry. So while I'm still very excited and passionate about key art design, and I want to create more posters for, concerts, for festivals, for, movies and television shows, I realize that a lot of those opportunities don't come around quite as often. So this has kind of put me in a different mindset where instead of only focusing on those gigs, I'm looking for tangential things that are still in the entertainment space. So for me, this can be anything from sports to music to live events and more. And having this kind of mindset has made me realize that, maybe there are more opportunities out there if I'm just willing to give it a chance. And doing that has also given me a little bit more confidence in myself and my ability to run my own design agency. By having more of an open mind and looking for not just key art gigs specifically, but for other gigs in the entertainment space, it's allowed me to build up a bit more of a roster for my business. And this is really important because if work starts to slow down or dry up with one of those clients, then I might still have something over here or over here. Now, I want to talk about the sort of different ways that you can work with these clients because when I was working in-house, I was really reliant on that bi-weekly check. And I think that there's this false narrative that I used to tell myself that this is safe, this is secure, this is steady. And over time and several layoffs, I realized that this isn't always the case, right? But there was still something nice about that predictability, knowing when the money's coming. And that's been one of the hardest challenges as a freelancer and running my own business. I won't lie about that. But through building up this roster of clients, I'm now able to work on a retainer for a few of these clients. And this is something that, I feel like a lot of designers either hate it or they love it, but it's given me a little bit of that predictability, just in the sense that I can work with this client specifically, and I have an agreement with them where they're going to retain me. They're going to pay me a certain amount of money each month, and I will deliver either a certain number of assets for them or work for a certain number of hours. And by having a retainer or two with some of my clients now, it's allowed me a little bit more time to focus on the work I'm doing for them, also in bringing in maybe a few clients that I work with on a day rate or a project rate where there's a flat fee. So back when I was working full-time as an in-house design director, at this point in the year, if I was still working in that job, I would have made about $15,000 before taxes. But now, working for myself and having my own design agency and business, I've earned $30,000 in the first month and a half of the year. Now, even though it's still pretty new to me, I was so excited when I found out that I scored these 2 clients on a retainer. I was telling literally everybody I know, oh my God, I got this retainer client. I can't believe it. And I think a big part of the reason for that is because, I had just come off of 3.5 months of not really having any money. And now I was in a spot where I was going to have some ongoing, more consistent revenue coming in from my business. And it also gave me some predictability in the sense that I knew that I would have consistent work throughout the month. It wouldn't be waiting till the day before to find out if somebody needed me or not. So sometimes when working with an agency, even if I really love the work, not having much notice beforehand can be really stressful. It sometimes means moving appointments or changing my whole schedule around just to make the time for that because, I want to be able to work with them. I want to be able to earn some extra money. But if an agency says to you, hey, we want to put you on hold for an entire month, I'm thinking, great, I have a whole month of work with this client. But then they could turn around and say, actually, we only need you for 1 or 2 days, and now we have someone else who's going to finish the project. Compare that to a retainer situation where I know that I'll be working with the client for a certain amount of time, for a certain amount of money, and I will be expected to deliver results. Delivering 20 header images or digital banners or 5 pieces of cover art. And if you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel and helps this content get found by others. So one of the other big changes that I've made this year in 2025 is switching from being a single member LLC to being an LLC with an S Corp election. Now, there are some different advantages to doing this, but for me, one of the biggest has been trying to separate, me, Eric Vasquez, from my business, Eric Vasquez Design. And doing this has allowed me to keep those things more separate, but also more organized. I think having this S Corp and knowing that I want to generate a lot more revenue this year has made it a little bit easier to stay on top of all of those business related activities, transactions, bookkeeping and invoices. Instead of just having everything over here as Eric Vasquez, having an S Corp like this has made it a lot easier to keep track of. So another change that I've made this year in 2025 is sort of adopting not a resolution or a goal, but an anthem. And that anthem is health over hustle. Now, this is an important one to me because I realize that there's going to be times where I might have to work late. I might have to work some weekends and, meet difficult deadlines. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I have to put my own priorities and well-being at the bottom of my to-do list. I spent so many years sacrificing those hours, canceling family trips and vacations and weekends with friends so that I could just work. And I don't really want to do that anymore. So I've realized that in order to be able to meet some of these lofty goals that I have for myself, like growing my design business, earning more revenue, I can't do any of that stuff if I'm not healthy, if I'm not taking my health seriously. So health over hustle has given me that different perspective that I need so I can focus on my long-term goals while still taking care of myself. Some of the ways that I've been able to do that are by trying to carve out time each day for things like meditation, exercise, going for walks, eating better, and getting proper rest, like not staying up until midnight or 1 a.m. to work on a design project. I feel much more excited when I do sit down to work. I feel like I have more energy and like I'm giving myself the space and the stillness I need to come up with better ideas, because I feel like most of the time my best ideas come to me when I'm not at my desk. Now, I'll be honest, I still struggle with this a lot, but I'm trying to figure it out. Just the other day, I was at my computer trying to finish up a project, and just when I thought it was done and I started to walk away, I heard that ding of another email coming in of another client, asking me for something that was, technically after hours at the end of the day. So it's really this push and pull of whether I sit down and allow myself to go back into it when I'm already tired and know that I need a break, or if I'm able to just kind of shut it down for the night and step away and do something else. One of the things that I've found to be really helpful is maybe I'll glance at the email, see what I need to do, and just make a note to start my next day tackling that task first. Whereas, other times I still fall prey to it and I'm like, all right, let me just jump back on for 20 or 30 minutes. So I think there has to be like a real conscious effort here, and just being more in tune with your body and what you need in that moment. One of the things that I've been thinking a lot about this year is, did my outreach at the end of 2024 actually pay off? Was it worth spending all of that time and energy trying to cold email people and make these new connections? And the answer is, I'm not really sure it did. And I'm just being honest because I haven't really, gotten any new opportunities from doing that outreach. I haven't really heard back from a lot of the people that I reached out to. Maybe I need to start doing some more follow-ups with some of the people I reached out to. But I think that, it at least got me going in the right direction. It at least got me in the mindset of let's network, let's connect. Let's talk about some ways that I can help you in your business with your creative problems. By updating my portfolio, by having these conversations, I'm just letting more people know about my business and the services that I can provide. And I'm looking for new and different ways I can do that might be more effective or enjoyable compared to doing cold outreach, because sometimes that can be really hard. I'm not 100% sure that that is the best or the only way to make new connections for my business. I still think, sharing your work is super important. So I'm trying to put my work out there, trying to provide value in other content through videos and written posts on social media. and then just engaging with people there in more organic ways. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with me as I continue to grow my freelance design business. I've had so much fun documenting this freelance journey and sharing it with you all here. So let me know in the comments below if you want to see more videos like this one. All right, creative. Thanks so much for watching. Keep designing, and we'll see you in the next one.